today's walkabout, we're going to do it a little bit differently. I want to show you probably the best garden tour I was ever on was Helen Dillon's Irish garden in Dublin. And it starts from the inside of her home, or at that time it did, looking out into her garden. So you basically got a view of the garden itself from the inside through her living room windows. So if you're wondering what I look at, when I'm doing the dishes and cleaning my veggies in the morning, this is my view right now. And I really do love it, especially because things look a little bit fresher and a little less hot. And I really like this concept. I love my palladium window, but I also like it because it really beautifully frames the view. And framing the view is one of those design principles I talk about in my book. And if you haven't pre-ordered it, I'm just gonna ask you to pre-order. That's really uncomfortable for me, but there'll be a link above. We'll put a card. Obviously, there's always a link in the description box below. To expand it, just go to the little arrow on the right-hand side. So I do hope you will pre-order it, The Elegant and Edible Garden. So I also want to give you a little bit of a follow-up on my fall decor ideas when I was unpacking all of my autumnal treasures, what I decided to keep and what I didn't. I did decide to give away those really large plug-in pumpkins, and I did something fun with them that I hope I'll be able to show you later. So I gave them away to a friend of mine who might do something pretty creative with it. I, of course, had already told you that I kept my little wire sculptures, and I like to put these in my kitchen window because it doesn't block the view of the garden. I can see through them. And then I got some baby boo pumpkins. I had orange ones there, but the orange ones conflicted with what was still in bloom outside, so I traded them out, and I traded them out for white baby boo ones that I gave a spritz of kind of a glossy enamel on. So I wanted to show you what my view is out the kitchen window, the expanse of the garden and the garden beds right now when they still looked pretty fresh. So now if we're going to come this way and out. So today, you guys, I've got things kind of staged because my memory is really getting bad, and when I leave these things out, it kind of jolts my memory about things that I wanted to tell you or questions that you have asked. So here we go. I'm just now starting to really get some pumpkins gourds. They're starting to show up here in Oklahoma City, so I'm just dipping my big toe into the fall decorating waters right now. Just a little bit. I typically don't do it all at once. I kind of spread it out starting about mid-September, and I think we're exactly mid-September now, aren't we, Stuart? Like September 15th or 16th. So I'm kind of dipping my toes in. Now, what I just love about this time of year is finally the temperatures are starting to moderate some, and especially in the mornings. So like yesterday, it probably got up into the, did it get up into the mid-90s yesterday? It's been getting really 95 to 100 for several days in a row. But the morning temperatures have just been delightful, and it takes every ounce of willpower for me to go inside after I come out in the morning. And I come out lately, I've been coming out before daybreak. I get up about 5. Some of you have asked me that on mornings when I'm kind of with it. I get up about 5. I do meditation in the morning. Usually I do it inside. If you follow me on Instagram, you kind of know what my meditation pattern is. But lately I've been doing it outside. So depending on kind of what aura I want to capture, I'll just move my chair around from one location to another. And I always light a candle, and I love it because this time of year now, it's not even so windy that I can't start lighting my outdoor candles. And they're not blowing out. It's not so hot that they melt. I have to kind of keep an eye on them, but it's really, really nice. And I want to look at this. I want to show you this, you guys. This is something that one of my followers sent me. They sent me a whole little different collection of candle snuffers. This is my favorite one, and I gave one to Stuart, didn't I, Stuart? Yep. So I really like these. So I'm going to snuff all of these out around my topiaries that are getting a big Lots of pruning right now. Lots and lots of pruning. I'm pruning them much more frequently than I normally do because I really want them to fill out and get dense before I have to bring them in. I'm also, one of the reasons that I put them in, I moved the table over here, was that this gets a little bit more shade than when they're out in the center of the yard, and slowly I'm decreasing their sunlight. So I still want them to get enough that they keep on growing and filling out, but slowly I'm kind of tapering them off from that strong sun before they go inside. And before they go inside, you guys, I will definitely spray them with some insecticidal soap. A couple of times. I'll really make sure that they don't have any hitchhikers on them before I bring them inside. And as maybe a little plug, I talked to my friend Kristen the other day, and we're thinking about maybe doing an article on topiaries for Garden Gate magazine. So that's my question of the day for you. Do you guys subscribe to Garden Gate magazine? Do you love it as much as I do? And secondly, would you like to see a topiary article from me in Garden Gate sometime next year? So I think that's my question of the day for you. You can see the little bees just love these flowers, and I've said before, the geraniums are starting, now that it's getting a little bit cooler and I've gotten the budworms under control, the geraniums are starting to flower again, and I'm hoping that they're really going to explode with flowers here pretty soon. The other thing, here's another question. As long as I'm badgering you, I might as well ask you a second question, and that is, these are the pillows that I keep out here. I got these from Pier 1 a number of years ago. They're down-filled. I don't keep them out all of the time, but since the weather's been nice and we've been sitting out here a lot more, in fact, we had a meeting outside yesterday, Stuart, didn't we? And it was delightful. Then I do keep them out. So here's my question. I really like these and I think they're beautiful, but to me, they still, the color of them is a little bit more springy. And I'm thinking about just getting some new covers made for them or bought for them that are a little bit more autumnal, a little bit wintry. So let me know your thoughts on that. I don't want to buy brand new pillows because I don't want to have to store anything else, but I think I could do with some new pillow covers. So if you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and if you've got a great source to get that kind of thing, let me know. I think those are maybe 20-inch square or 18-inch square. Now, this year, it's kind of strange because this year I just kept thinking, never, including right now, have I ever really felt like I ever had the garden kind of under control and really looking the way I wanted it to look. And I finally realized it had nothing to do with me. It didn't even have anything to do with how much time I could dedicate to it. It just has to do with the fact that it got a brutal assault last winter and it just has to recover. And that's why nothing ever really looked right to me. I either had to replant something or readjust it or let it fill out again. And that's why it's never resonated with me. And that's okay. I finally, when I figured that out, I thought, okay, it's not just me. It's not that I've lost my magic design touch. It's just that it basically just experienced a real brutal assault from which it had to recover. So that's that. But I do have some kind of happy things that surprised me. Number one, I dug up and relocated all sorts of boxwood balls in an attempt to kind of simplify mostly the front yard, but even the backyard and the potager. All the ones that I transplanted, whether they went into a pot or they went into the ground, like this one over here, or I'm moving too fast for Stuart. And by the way, you guys, if you haven't paid any attention, you definitely really need to look at Stuart's cute new pumpkin animation at the very beginning because it's so fun. Yeah, somebody asked, was it a pumpkin or a tomato? I said, oh no, they're definitely pumpkins. This one I transplanted, it's doing just fine. And then I love the way this, I think it's Little Henry Sweet Spire, is starting to turn. And I love the color of the foliage, especially against this boxwood, which is the reason, one of the reasons I planted it there to begin with. And I really like the way this whole staging looks right here, right now, with my boxwood topiaries and the scented geraniums, which, yes, you asked, I do bring them inside. And yes, I do have some fun little boxwood starts, which will probably be little topiary gifts. I've got some people who, now that it's cooler, I'll be inviting more people over to my garden, so that might be a little takeaway gift for them. While I'm thinking about it, a number of you have asked me if I could send you some seeds, and I am happy to do that, but it can be a little bit overwhelming. So here's, Stuart, what did we decide to do? Occasionally what we'll do, once a week or something like that, I should probably tie it to the Wednesday walkabout so I remember. But whoever comments first, including today, on the Wednesday walkabout, just comment below, say, first comment or something like that. If you're the first comment, I will send you 3 packages of seeds from my garden. And then you can just direct message me, you can send me an email or whatever. Actually, let's send it to support@lindevater.com with your address and contact information, your email address, and I will mail them to you. If you are the first person to comment, make sure to turn on notifications so that you know as soon as I put one up, you'll be able to maybe be the first person. So then I left these out because I wanted to remind you of a couple of things, or remind myself to tell you a couple of things. I did a wonderful IGTV live with my friend Sherry, who has Victory Girl, the IG account Victory Girl. She's so inspirational. She's up in Colorado. We're kindred spirits. And I did an IGTV live, so you guys might want to head over to my channel or her channel, and there'll be a swipe up link. I'll put another swipe up link today so you can listen to that IGTV live. It was really fun to do with her, and make sure to follow her, of course. I also wanted to tell you that if you go to, just Google QVC Lindevater. That's probably the easiest way to do it, or just search Lindevater QVC and it will take you to my QVC collection. Right now, these seed starter kits are on sale. I think they're about $17 on sale, which is just incredible, you guys. And I think they're still available in all finishes, but this is what you can do with them. I showed you this before. This is so cute. These are just some little lemon cypress starts that I did, but these will be wonderful during the holidays, especially around Christmas. But I even thought about pulling out some little acorns that had volunteered in my yard, planting tiny little trees that come from my garden in here, or starting seeds of kale and cool weather greens, and it just would be so fun and so cute, I think. And then I also wanted to tell you, I think some of you have asked if they have more of these plant stands. If they have more of these plant stands available now, and I believe they do. I think they are only available in black and galvanized metal, but I wanted to show you this too because this is part of my morning meditation package. Because it's been so cool in the morning, I need a blankie to throw over my lap, and then I just keep some matches in here for candles and stuff, and then I can locate my little side table with its contents. Stuart, you would have to have mosquito spray in there. But I can then move this little table to wherever I decide to sit in the garden, and it's just really handy, and I love it. And it's, for me, this is a real fall item, even more maybe than a summer item. So I think some of those are back in stock again, and you'll definitely want to take advantage of them. And somebody told me that they heard that maybe some of the natural size baskets are back in stock. And one thing I discovered about these the other day, you guys, I was harvesting a bunch of tomatoes and peppers and things like that. And what I love about them is I can use this as a harvest basket, and then I can wash them outside, let all of the water as I'm washing them. This one isn't my harvest basket. This is my just debris basket. But I can wash them outside with the hose, let all of that water go back into the garden instead of down the drain, and it works as a colander as well as a harvest basket. Or I can bring the basket into the kitchen and do the same thing in my kitchen sink. So I really like that. It's a kind of a new application that I just had an aha moment of. So anyhow, if you guys are interested in any of that QVC stuff. You might want to head over and see. Some of it's on sale, I think. Here's something else that I did, and I am definitely doing, and I'll reserve my back window box for another day, but I have started digging up practically all of the little fern in my garden, and I'm transplanting them and planting them in another area, and I'll show you that later, but it's been one of the most fun things I've done this season. And it's because I'm taking things that are getting thugged out like this one, or just aren't real happy where they are, and I'm moving them to a more impactful place in my landscape design, but also where they'll be a lot happier. Of any of the areas of my garden that I just really doesn't look right to me right now, it's this one. And it's because of, again, the Arctic blast, the ice storm, and after a lot of deliberation about what I might want to do here, I just couldn't come up with any idea that I liked more than what I had originally. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of thin this out. You can see I've got some Virginia creeper and things back in here. I'm going to thin this out. When it gets really cool, I'm just going to get, I'll go to the nursery and buy it. I'm just going to get another Eastern redbud, and I'm going to plant it back here so that once again, you can see the remnants of the matriarch of all of these other redbuds that are in my backyard. But it died, and so I think I'm just going to plant another one back in here someplace, so I'll once again have shade over this area, and it will replicate the vignette that I had before that I loved so much. And I'll probably do some things with all of these hydrangeas that have gotten a little bit out of control, so this area isn't quite so overgrown. So that's kind of what's on my radar. Stuart and I are also getting ready, and I'll let you know when it's up, but we're getting ready to do some video for Home Depot. And it's going to include some of my viburnum berries, so I think that will be kind of fun. I'm still going to transplant this sugar shack button bush, but it is just not time yet. It's just really still too hot. It may be a little bit cooler today, but it's definitely going to start getting hot again, so I'm just going to wait on that. And then I'm going to do my typical thing starting next year, because it's gotten tall enough, where I really prune it up and I remove a lot of the lower growing foliage, because I think that will be beautiful. I haven't exactly decided where I want to put it yet. If you guys have ideas, let me know. Another thing that I'm getting ready to do, oh, and by the way, I want to give you guys just two really great thanks for a couple of things. Number one, this Montrose white catnip that I was telling you guys about, somebody recommended, I said I was going to, I think, plant it in the border. Look at what a pollinator magnet it is. Well, someone suggested, why don't I plant it maybe in my front window box? And I think I'm going to do that. So if you are the person that recommended that to me, please let me know, because I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm hoping it can handle that really brutal southern exposure. I think it can. But what I love is it just keeps blooming its head off. And again, the pollinators love it. So whoever gave me that tip, kudos to you. Please let me know. Thumbs up. Thank you. The other thing I'm getting ready to do is take a bunch of cuttings off of my angel wing, dragon wing begonias. You can see they're way overgrown. And I think my friend Monica is going to come over, and she very kindly takes lots of cuttings of things from my garden, and then she will root them for me and pot them up, and then I'll do something with them. Since I don't have a greenhouse and she does, she is so kind to do that. And it's another way I can share my cuttings with her too, so she gets some of what I have. I wanted to show you this, because this is a case of I guess, maybe intentionally doing something not correctly. So Stuart thinks that's real funny. So you can see on this boxwood hedge that a lot of the tips are burned. It's got kind of a beige veneer to them, and that's because I pruned it when it was too hot. Just like you have to really watch when you prune so that new growth is hardened off before a freeze, you really don't want to prune it that much when it's very, very hot out. So I went ahead and pruned it. I'm actually going to prune it a little bit more very quickly because it's almost getting too late to do it. And the reason I'm doing it, and the reason I did it when it was too hot, is because I have decided to really drastically reduce the size of this, and I kind of don't want to do it all at once. So I'm taking some of it down now, and then next spring I will really take it down. And that way I'm incrementally reducing the size of it over time because it's just gotten too big, and I liked it when it was a little bit smaller in stature and just didn't look so mature. So I've decided to do that, and then I'm going to pull out everything, and I'm getting ready to plant spring greens and things like that in here. I can't wait to do that. And then I wanted to give you a Tithonia update because you guys look at how many flowers are on this now. And look at all the bees. And I'm just fascinated with this. And yesterday when we had our meeting, Stuart wasn't, we just sat outside and watched. There were hummingbirds, there were tons of monarchs, butterflies, swallowtails, bees. It was just really fun. It wasn't too humid, and it was just really nice. One final thing, or actually I've got two final things. The reason I wasn't really satisfied with this border this year is because I lost one of my favorite plants, and that is the Chef's Choice Rosemary from the Southern Living collection. And I had it in 3 huge clumps that ran up and down this border. It was magnificent. It endured 3 years without freezing out, but then this last Arctic blast, when it got down to -12, it was just too much for it. But it was a great solution for this really hot as the Dickens border. So that's another reason I'm coming. I think I may have told you in an earlier video, I'm not going to do that again as much as I loved it because it was too heartbreaking when I lost it. But I am going to put, when I buy a few mums, once they're finished showtime, then I will probably plant them in the border because they can also handle this real brutal exposure. And then what I'll do is just put this in the greenhouse, and then I've got another. This is one of the pots from my QVC collection. I love them. I like the stone finish even better. We're going to do something fun with the stone finish and pumpkins, I think tomorrow, aren't we, Stuart? And I've got another one down here, so I will have that on both sides. I've still got some work to do in here, but I'm not going to beat myself up. That's why things just don't look right to me, is because I lost so much stuff, and it takes time to recover. So don't beat yourself up either if you've had a particularly harsh prior winter, hot summer, which some of you in the Pacific Northwest and in California, I know, dry. My heart goes out to you, people that are experiencing floods in the Southeast. I am so sorry, and really up on the East Coast. I know that that has really been a trial and a burden for you guys. I'm so sorry, but hopefully we can enjoy some benevolent weather here coming up pretty soon. The final thing that I wanted to give you a thank you for was I am absolutely, passionately in love with my retractable hose reel that you guys encouraged me to get. I ended up getting the giraffe one, and in fact, I'm getting ready. They asked me if I would do a testimonial on it, and I said, oh my gosh, yes. So Stuart and I are getting ready to do a little testimonial on this and how I like to use it. A number of you asked, why do I have it so high? Well, first of all, I have it high because I don't have to bend over. Secondly, it was the area, ooh, there's a wasp there. It was the area where it could clear the fence on that side. It could clear all of these over here, and it just was a little bit more practical for me in both the front and the back. It also happened to be the location that had the best structural integrity in the walls, where it was going to be most secure, because you do apply a lot of pressure to it. So I wanted to give you guys a big, heartfelt Thank you for telling me something that improved my life drastically. I'm composing my Christmas list right now of some of my favorite things that you guys might want to consider giving as gifts for Christmas. We will put that together and Stuart and I will make it available to you. You guys go outside and enjoy these cool temperatures and beautiful, beautiful weather. And if you've held on this long, here's my fashion epilogue for today. If you're not interested, just go on to the next video. So my earrings today, I think years ago came from Burlington Coat Factory. I can't really remember, to be perfectly honest, but I do love these earrings. And this size and shape of earrings are some of my favorite. My dress I got probably 2 or 3 years ago at Target. I really like it. It's easy to work in unless you think it's a little too short and I might expose something I don't want exposed when I bend over. I do have little shorts on underneath it because I worked out this morning. My booties came from Forever 21. I love these. They are so, so comfortable. I'm continue to be surprised at how comfortable they are every time I slip them on. My bracelet came from, I don't shop at Sephora a lot, but I got this a number of years ago. It was kind of a free gift that came with something that I bought, and actually it came in a package of 3, and I really like it. And I have worn it a lot because it's kind of bracelet simplified when I don't want to do my whole layered look. So there you go. There is my fashion epilogue du jour.